Per usual, everything on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. It is Wednesday. That means we talk about alts who are slowly dying a brutal, nightmarish death as of late, thanks to Bitcoin slowly bleeding out. That's one of the most bearish things to see on any chart, is a continuous, non-emotional, repetitive seller. Whoever it is, whoever the group is, whether it's 10 things, 30 things, it doesn't really matter. But we are seeing just a slow bleed, tick, 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 and that is really crushing alts. There was a ETH announcement yesterday where Consensus said that the SEC has stopped pursuing ETH 2.0 as a security, and alts popped a little bit on that. In a bull market, they'd be up a lot more. But for alts, in the near term, it looks like the direction will be down. For BTC, the best thing for alts is for BTC to just hold sideways and chop around. ETH is probably going to move around based on any ETF announcements. But if we look at US liquidity, it's actually up quite a bit from a couple weeks ago. Global liquidity in the green, down. So we do have a little bit of a divergence there, and we have not seen global liquidity break out of this multi-year high yet. And that is going to be the key. If and when we see that, which many people think we will, then I'd expect everything to explode. Everything to start to melt up, including legacy markets, including crypto, including NFTs, everything. But we're not there yet. We're just not there yet. So in the near term, I would expect continuous bleeding across the board, random 10% down days. That's just where we're at. More headwinds than tailwinds. This is total 2 on the daily cloud, and it hasn't really gone anywhere. Total 2, for those who are unaware, is the market cap of everything except Bitcoin. So just based on trend, it has gone from bullish to neutral to bullish to neutral. This looks a little bit like ETH, a little bit like Sol. It could be a inverted head and shoulders up here, much like Bitcoin's 72K level. You would need to see a move that makes a higher high. Ultimately, at this point, it is better if everything resets trend-wise, which is happening. The cloud will flip bearish here in a couple days. You'll get a bearish TK cross in a couple days. Past that, the hope is that you do see an eventual Kumo breakout again, bullish TK cross again, right? And then things may happen again. This could be a massive triangle. This could be an ascending triangle. This could be a bunch of stuff still up here. Just needs time. That's really the message for everything right now. Nobody's here. Volumes are down, and we just need time. If we look at the stablecoin supply of Tether and USDC together, similar to global liquidity, just kind of sitting at highs here. It is making new all-time highs about every other day, but it's not making a massive push here. So you can see how we sort of slowed down when we topped out on stablecoin liquidity. And the expectation here is that if we do see another push like we did in October for stablecoin liquidity, we would see total 2 at that point break out. We would have a tailwind versus a headwind. On liquidity, there's just not enough money to hold everything up right now. If we look at total 2 stripping out stables over Bitcoin, we continue to see a bearish outlook for alts. Inevitably, someone in the comments is going to let me know that some coin that was just invented 5 seconds ago is up 400%. Congratulations, I'm happy for you. But as a whole, alts have not been the move for going on over 2 years now. Being denominated in BTC over alts has been rewarded broadly. Alts have not outperformed as a group. Yes, I know Sol has. Yes, I know other coins have. But as a group, BTC is where it's been. And until this changes, the expectation is BTC will still be the stronger asset. Previously, it took over 300 days after halving for alts to finally break out in a big way. And we are very early on that. So we've got one data point to think about going forward, and we've got the cloud, which is always going to tell us ahead of time what's going on here based on trend. This could go sideways for 200 days and then break out, but it is not bullish yet. There's nothing here that I see that is bullish yet. Total 3 over BTC looks even worse, and that looks ready for bearish continuation. Looking at the stablecoins again separated, USDC, if you're truly bullish DeFi and alts and base and L2s and everything else, you want to see USDC just explode higher in circulating supply, because that would represent demand on the DeFi side. So using this as a sentiment gauge, USDC is still flat. It's still below the SVB circulating supply when SVB exploded, and USDC should have been taken down with it. But thanks to the US government, unsecured deposits were bailed out. Coinbase would have stepped in and bailed them out. So the public markets would have taken care of it. The free market would have taken care of it. But in any event, we're not seeing a massive spike in USDC. This has all been a tether party so far. Before I talk about individual coins here, let me mention today's video sponsor. You know them and love them, Kraken Pro. Kraken Pro is the complete overhaul of the Kraken trading experience with a one-stop shop for advanced and professional traders. Kraken Pro enables efficient trading execution across multiple markets with a UI that allows for unique optimization tailored to your trading style. You can check out Kraken Pro with the link in the description of this video. Non-investment advice. Crypto trading involves risk of loss. Cryptocurrency services are provided to U.S. and U.S. territory customers by Payward Ventures, Inc., PBI, DBA, Kraken. I've used Kraken for probably almost a decade. They've been around a very, very long time. Fees lower than most exchanges. They're continuously adding more and more markets. I really love their mobile app. Their mobile app is great. Super clean and slick. If you've got alerts on the web version on charts, you will get push notifications, mobile notifications on your phone when those levels hit. That's super helpful for a trader on the go. And they've got something else coming down the pipe here shortly that I'm very excited to talk about. So the Kraken Pro trading experience will continue to get better and even more improved. Looking at Bitcoin, if I want to make a bear case, which for alts will run on their own to infinity. What you really need to be careful for of alts is bearishness, because bearishness means a negative 50% week, right? You're just destroying everything you've built up in alts, which is why Bitcoin maxis exist, which is why people prefer Bitcoin over garbage. But what you really need to avoid is the big moves in Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is broadly bearish, there isn't going to be some altcoin that saves you. Alts will be broadly bearish. That's just how it is. So if you're bullish alts, you need to root for this M double top not playing out. I don't think it's going to play out, but I'm also not heavily denominated in alts. So if this starts to break down, that would be a stop loss for me if I'm in any alt position, leveraged alt position. If we lose 65 here in a big way, that means we lost the daily cloud, we lost the daily Kijun, we potentially lose the weekly 20 moving average, which is this yellow line. The daily 200 moving average would be horizontal support along with the cloud. So there are levels on the way down, but then we start to enter even more bearish looking territory, right? We can survive going from bullish to neutral, but then we risk going from neutral to very bearish. And alts would just get absolutely obliterated if Bitcoin goes sub 50K, which I don't think is going to happen. But if it does, it's over for alts. Alts are down 50, 60%, almost guaranteed. There's just no chance. So you really have to be careful for that if you are in a heavy alt portfolio at the moment. Otherwise, we break 72K and alts should do very well. You know, that's the simple upside target. But this is on the table. So if this succeeds, it's game over for alts. If this fails, which I think it will, then alts should do well. This could also morph into some sort of ascending triangle eventually over time. But this is a very hefty decision point at this juncture. Looking at the 1050 cross on Bitcoin as well, if you backtest this, this does very well at getting you in and out at roughly the right times. If we backtest just over the past couple months here, the 1050 bear cross, down, 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 and we're getting another bear cross potentially here in the next couple of days. So again, I would be very careful with alts here. If we lose these supports, if we flip moving averages bearish, that is not a bullish sign. We also have a yearly pivot at 62.7 along with the 20-week moving average. So there's only so many ways I can say, be careful, be careful, be careful. Obviously, the ETH people, you know, I don't know who I'm really talking to because the BTC maxis don't care about alts. The alt maxis don't care about BTC. And they're all kind of just shouting past each other. But on ETH, we do look slightly better in that we've bounced on the Kijun here a couple times on the daily, which is good. This could fail like it did in March. But until it fails, there is a slight expectation, we'll say, at this point for a bullish continuation move above 4,000, realistically. If ETH breaks 4,000, it may pull BTC with it above 72. if 72 breaks on BTC, it will pull ETH above 4,000. This could also be an inverted head and shoulders chart pattern. At this point, the chart patterns don't really matter because everybody knows what the levels are, but this is how it measures if this breaks up. On the downside, we probably retrace everything back until Q4 if everything breaks down on the ETH side of things. Looking at the weekly chart, ETH has plenty of wiggle room on the high time frame multi-year pitchfork, which it still sits within. The 20-week moving average is at 2100. The bottom of the pitchfork's probably at 2400, 2300, something like that. So for me, that would be probably the maximum bear case. Whether or not this would be able to complete a bearish move through the cloud on the weekly, I would think not, but that would be on the table if everything breaks down, right? If Bitcoin breaks to 50, you're going to see an M double top call here. You're going to see cup and handle invalidation. It's going to be messy, messy, messy. Not my base case, not my expectation, just something to watch for. Otherwise, price remains within this pitchfork, and slowly over time, it starts to climb this ladder of diagonal resistance, and we're talking 2.5 to 3x eventually into 2025. ETH BTC still looks bearish, is on the bearish side of the weekly trend. It's below the 50 week, it's below the 200 week. It had a death cross on the 50, 200 weekly. What matters more in the near term is the ETF final approvals and launches, but this is not trend bullish here. This could form a multi-month inverted head and shoulders over the next couple months. And I think the best trade is going to be watching what looks to be the inevitable neckline around 06 into 2025. I think that's when ETH BTC may have a move. It may take that long. ETH tends to do better in the first half of the year relative to BTC than the back half of the year. The ETFs may disrupt that seasonality, but until that happens, I don't think this pair is necessarily going anywhere. Sol looks decidedly worse than ETH. It is setting up for a 5200 death cross here. It is already bearish fully on the cloud. Bearish breakout, bearish twist, bearish TK cross. You've got the trappings of a pretty aggressive head and shoulders. I would love to see a breach of 100 just to see what happens down there. Do we have any buyers on anything anywhere? It doesn't feel like it. When I look at these alt charts, these other ones, other layer ones, it doesn't look like there is broad buyers anywhere. It doesn't look like there are bids on the book anywhere. It doesn't look like there's any emotion yet, right? We had the big break on a lot of these of horizontals. Link, AVAX, Rune, DOT, IMX, Filecoin. I'm sure there's 50 other examples of charts that look just like this. These either need to hit their targets before I care, or they just need a quarter, 3 months to figure out what they want to be when they grow up, or they need to break the right shoulder. So we are far from any of that yet. And that just says, stay away, have some patience, wait for this stuff to play out. So it may take Sol 3 months to figure it out, but at this point, everything is bearish on the cloud, which is a good thing. That's the first full bear reset since the breakout in Q4 2023. So the next bull move, which probably will not happen anytime soon, will be just as obvious as it was in Q4 23. You're also at the 200-day moving average support here. This could also be a descending triangle, which would also be bearish. So there's lots of bearish stuff on Sol here. It would basically need to get back above 200 to regain bullishness, which is possible, but I don't think super likely in the moment. All these charts look tragically awful. This is Sol ETH, also freshly bearish, breaking the ascending triangle support. This was ready to break out and would have hadn't it been for the ETF on ETH. You've got a bearish cloud, you've got a bearish death cross here. So this favors ETH over Sol. ETH BTC is basically a wash here. And so that favors BTC and ETH over Sol. Sol's had a great move. It needs some time for buyers and sellers to come back to an equilibrium by the looks of it, just based on the technicals. Looking at the AI coins, which were so hot or looking to be hot a couple weeks ago, all this has sort of broken down. And you can see just how divergent this is relative to NVIDIA, relative to even SMCI, which looks like it's ready to go again on the daily cloud. I had said last week, the week before that, Near looked amazing, just never broke out. Fell below the daily cloud. Render held above the daily cloud for a long time, just couldn't make any highs. And then we've got some of this other stuff, FET, AGIX, Ocean, Arweave, AIOZ, all of this stuff just looks very bearish here. And now you've got M double top structures on Near, on Render, on Arweave and AIOZ. So just completely the opposite of what we're seeing in the legacy land on the AI side of things. And on the meme coins, very much the same thing. Could not hold highs, could not reach targets except for Pepe. Pepe reached its target. Bonk roughly reached a target, but reversed immediately. Whiff never really broke out. Floki tried to break out and failed. So all these charts just look ready to continue to give up more and more and more to the downside. Whiff, I don't know, 50 cents, possible. Doge, below 10 cents. SHIB could give up the entire move. I mean, we're talking very bearish setups here to the downside. I really don't see any evidence that we're going to see bullish reversals or bullish continuation just yet. So it is broadly a very bearish picture for layer ones, for alts. ETH looks okay, but will get dragged down by BTC's bearishness. BTC could get pulled up by ETH's bullishness. It just depends on the order of operations here and what breaks up or down first. For the rest of the week, I think that the most important thing is BTC not closing inside of the weekly cloud again. That would definitely trigger edge-to-edge expectations. So what do we want to see? We want to see emotions. We want to see volume. We want to see some sort of capitulatory spike. There's nothing more bearish than a slow bleed. This is over 10% in like 2 weeks. There's really nothing more bearish than that, because that just tells you buyers are still waiting for better prices to step in, and there's really nobody on the other side of the book other than sellers. That's all I got for this one. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.